and welcome to This is Metal with Tom Collier. Our special guest today is our mutual friend, Ross Savas. How you doing today, Ross?
I'm okay, man.
Yeah, hey, if everybody knew the technical difficulties we were having just a few minutes ago, but we got it working. So how are you doing today, Ross?
We're good. You know, for some reason, Zoom is not cooperating today.
Yeah, we finally got it. Anyways, let me ask you, Ross. I recently interviewed your bandmate, Sean Peck, and he told me that you guys pretty much got the new Death Dealer recorded and everything. So when can we expect to see that? Any idea?
We're actually working on a record contract with Massacre for everything that Death Dealer has. And not only did we record one record, we have 2 records in the can.
Yeah. Wow.
We have 2 records.
So was that hard? Like, you got 2 records worth of material, deciding which songs would go on which record?
Stu and Sean usually have good instincts when it comes to that.
Yeah. And so as guitar players, how do you and Stu go about splitting up your solos?
He writes these sections to me. Like when it comes down to like large sections of space to be filled by guitar, he says you're the only one that he knows that I could do it. Okay?
Oh wow!
Without playing super fast, which is
Yeah.
I mean, I can play fast, but that's not really what I do. I mean, I'm like more of like a blues guitar player, something.
Now, Tom, you were telling me that you've known Ross for a while. You guys are good friends. Have you guys ever played a show together?
Actually, we have. Ross and I played right before COVID, right during COVID. We did a show together.
Oh, wow.
Yes, we did.
Yep. And I tell you that Ross and I have known each other many years. Matter of fact, one of the stories was my son was born. Ross was at the hospital with me. We were heading to the recording studio, and I called my wife, and she was in labor, so we all went to the hospital. So all the nurses were trying to get Ross and them to sign autographs while my son's being born.
Wow.
Ross stayed at my house for like 3 days, and I found out so much stuff. One of the things I wanted to say to Ross was, I don't know, Ross, remember we were talking, I said, how did Man of War start? And you told me that Ronnie Dio was involved. You were with Black Sabbath. You were touring with Black Sabbath. Is that correct, Ross?
Yes, I was in Shakin' Street, the French band Shakin' Street, and we were in England, and Black Sabbath was there supporting the Heaven and Hell record, Ronnie Dio's first tour. And we would be doing our sound check, like on the first show there, I think it was Newcastle, and Ronnie was on the side of the stage, and he goes like, Ross, wow, after the sound check, I'm like, whoa. He comes up to me and he goes, you're really good. I really love the way you play guitar. And, blah, 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 blah. I know about CBGBs and Dictators and punk and all that stuff. And he goes, by the way, I have this guy in my crew. His name's Joey. And he goes, you should meet him. I go, okay. Yes, sir. That's Mr. Dio. So, that's what I did. So, and then Joey and I became friends, and we started jamming in Black Sabbath's dressing rooms during their shows. And, the next thing you know, well, it's history.
Wow. And let me ask you, Ross, you mentioned the Dictators. I also interviewed another one of your bandmates recently, Albert Bouchard. Now, Albert, man, he is such a great drummer. I mean, talk about how you got him in the Dictators, because, I mean, everybody knows him from, of course, Blue Oyster Cult and what he's doing now. But I got to tell you, I think he really fits the Dictators.
It's amazing. It's truly amazing. As a matter of fact, I have my session tonight to finish the remaining tracks I have for the new record. He's just incredible. I mean, I had played with Albert before. I had a band called the Brain Surgeons, and the record was amazing. An amazing record that we did. And I mean, we needed a drummer, and between Andy and me, he was the first guy we thought of.
And he's got such energy. I mean, people be amazed. He's like in his mid-70s, and he looks half his age.
Yeah. And he's the world's greatest cowbell player.
Yeah.
And he's just amazing. He's an amazing songwriter, amazing guy. He just
singer. He plays guitar.
He wrote a song for the new Dictators record, which I'm going to try to top my solo tonight. It's called "Wicked Cool Disguise," and it's just an incredible song. I mean, we have such an amazing band now. You know, we have me and Andy, Keith Roth from Sirius on second guitar and lead vocals. He's amazing, and of course Albert. So we signed with Decca Records and Valley Entertainment.
They're a great label, Deco Entertainment. I mean, they've given me some great interviews over years, but more than that, I love the fact that they really get behind their artist and promote them.
They do. Valley, right?
Yeah. No, Deco I was talking about.
Yeah, Decca. Yeah. Well, we have two companies working with us.
Okay. Wow, that's and of course, speaking of Albert, which we have a little bit, you also and the other Dictators appear on his latest solo album, which is pretty cool.
Was that?
You guys, the Dictators, as a band, appeared on Albert's recent solo album.
Imaginos, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's just a monster album.
I think we're going to be putting Transmaniacon on the Dictators record.
And any idea when the Dictators album will be? It's a full album each year. When it might be coming out?
Maybe November.
Wow, what a way to end the year, huh? Nice little holiday present, huh? For rock fans. Yeah.
I mean, we're almost there. We're almost there. So it's great.
And of course, I got to ask you, Ross. Another big thing in the metal news recently is how do you feel about your former singer, Mark Loeb's, now being the frontman for Metal Church?
He's not my former singer.
Oh, he's still with you? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't aware of that. That's cool.
No, these are the days, my friend, when people have to be in multiple bands.
Yeah.
Like my drummer, Sean L., plays with KK's Priest.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Everybody's got to, if you want to really make a living playing music, you're going to have to be doing it. And you're not Iron Maiden, and you're not Motley Crue and Metallica. You're going to have to do multiple things. There's just not enough stuff to go around for just one band, one person. Like it was when I started. So,
So Tom, anything else you want to ask Ross?
Absolutely. So I think a lot of people don't realize how important Ross has been to the music world. I mean, he was a pioneer in two genres, with the Dictators punk and with heavy metal with Manowar. And also, weren't you the first guy that brought KK Downing back after he played with Judas Priest? Didn't he play his first show back with Ross the Boss? Am I correct with that, Ross?
Yes, 2019. We played in Bloodstock. I had a spot there in Bloodstock, and a friend of mine there, I said, I know KK, lives in the area in the Midlands. And so I go, why don't you ask him to come down for beer? Hang out for beer, come, just innocently. And then he asked him, he goes, like a day later, he said yes. What do you mean he said yes? He goes, he's going to come down. He goes, to hang. Okay, that's great. And then I'm thinking, well, why don't you ask him if he wants to jam with us? And a day later, my friend comes back. He said yes. I go, he said yes?
Oh, wow.
So, wow. So, definitely a sign from the gods. So I'm saying, well, maybe we'll fly in a day earlier than we wanted to and practice 2 days at his steel factory because he's got a club. And so we went and we practiced at KK's place, and it's a great venue. And we practiced 2 days, and then we played Bloodstock. We killed it. And then KK had his first show. I can never forget him. It was like after the four Priest songs we played, he goes, I want to play more. I'm going to keep playing. I go,
Calm down.
He was so excited. He was so excited to be playing after 10 years of not playing, which I found that hard to. I couldn't believe it. But all I wanted to do was bring some positive energy back into the world. Maybe Judas Priest would take him back, or something would happen, and something happened.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And who knows, that might have led to Priest getting in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, how did you feel seeing him back up there with Priest for that? And did you kind of, like a lot of us, think that, okay, maybe now is the time for KK to get back with Priest?
Yeah, but I think that manager has too much of a grip on that band.
Yeah.
I just, it wasn't meant to be. It just wasn't meant to be for KK to be back with Judas Priest. So now he has KK Priest. I'm sure they really like that.
Yeah. And so, Ross, for anybody who doesn't know, but you're a big baseball fan, and you almost went into baseball yourself. I know you got that batting cage. So I'm
sitting here. I'm sitting here right now.
Oh wow! Okay, so you're right there. Yeah.
Yeah. You hear the balls, the bats?
Yeah. That's what I was asking. How much of your time do you spend there when you're not touring?
All my time.
Oh, that's cool.
I also have my rehearsal room here. It's great. It's a business. It's a commercial zone, so I can blast music all night.
Wow.
No one would give a shit. So it's a good setup. So.
Yeah, and I love to ask people, Ross, what is something you think your fans would be surprised to learn about Ross the Boss? Like a little known fact.
That's kind of hard. I think everything that about me is out there.
Oh, okay.
There's no like real state secrets out there.
Yeah, you're a pretty open guy. Yeah.
Yeah. I think anybody that follows me knows where I'm at.
Yeah.
Hey, Ross, how about this story? Didn't you have a limousine service, car service, and didn't the limousine get stolen while you were pumping gas into it? Am I correct remembering that?
What was that?
Didn't you have a limousine service or a car service and you were putting gas in the car and somebody stole the car?
Yeah, while I was pumping gas.
I love that.
Yeah. It was right by Kennedy Airport.
Yes.
I was pumping gas and some guy jumps into the car, turns it on, and you're still in my car, motherfucker. I jumped in the car and started strangling the guy, and he's driving away with my car, right?
Yeah.
And I'm halfway out the car, and he just floored it and he knocked me out of my own car. He drove away with my car.
Did the car ever get found? Was it ever returned?
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
You just can't make this stuff up,
I figured my life wasn't worth losing over it,
Yeah. There are a lot of great rock and roll movies coming out. You ever thought about making a Ross the Boss movie or documentary or anything like that? I think it would be a very interesting.
Thinking more like writing a book.
Yeah.
I have definitely enough to write a book.
Sure. Yeah. And one thing I got to say, Ross, I've always enjoyed about you as a performer, not only a great guitar player, but even from the days in Manowar, and I think that's probably initially where it got started. I mean, one thing I always loved about Manowar, they were so over the top, it was much more than just 5 guys in the jeans and t-shirts. You guys would get all dressed up in the costumes. You would entertain the audience, you guys.
Yeah. We're definitely entertainers. Definitely a unique outfit, that's for sure.
Yeah. Did you enjoy being part of that? I mean, besides just playing the music, the whole show of it.
What about it?
I mean, did you enjoy being a part of something?
I thought the show was the band.
Yeah.
We were the show.
Yeah, the whole package,
It wasn't the fact that we didn't light off any bombs and all that other stuff to take away your attention from the fact that the band sucked.
Yeah. I mean, people go to a Manowar concert and you guys give them some, you give them something to remember, give them something to tell their friends about. Yeah. And Ross the Boss, the band Ross the Boss, is very much kind of the same way. You've kind of kept that tradition going.
Yeah. Well, my band is really good, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
We have no slouches in my band.
And I got to say, another mutual friend of all of ours is David Schenkel, another fellow Manowar guitar player. You and him seem to get along pretty well. That's cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, David's a good guy.
And so, what else is going on with Boss these days?
Well, I'm going to start to write new stuff for another record, for another metal thing, and but the most important thing right now is finishing the Dictators record.
Yeah,
we have 11 shows in Spain in a couple of weeks, and take it from there.
And once you guys do the shows, I was curious, with the new record coming out, is it going to be hard coming up with a set list? Like, how much of the classic versus new material is going to be put in there?
Yeah, well, like we're practicing here next week. It's going to be a bit of, we have to, now we have 20 songs we got to narrow down. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's a bit of it's tough.
Yeah.
You know, you got to get in all the good ones, the old ones, but then again, you still have to have new stuff there.
Yeah. So, Ross, who were some of your guitar heroes, the guys that influenced you were growing up?
When I was growing up, Peter Green, Fleetwood Mac, Eric Clapton of the Blues Breakers, Freedom Fame, Mike Bloomfield of the Butterfield Blues Band.
Interesting, yeah.
Butterfield Blues Band. Big against B.B. King, Freddie King, Albert King, those guys. Carlos Santana. The early Carlos was great. The first Boston record was amazing.
Well, people might be surprised, like the Rasa Boss is influenced by a lot of blues players, Fleetwood Mac you mentioned, but I think it makes you a better musician. And you can chime in here too, Tom. What do you guys think about like kind of taking in a lot of different types of music? I think that makes you a better musician.
Yeah. Well, obviously, if you feed yourself a constant diet of metal,
yeah,
it's just not good. Right? You'll never sound. You sound so shallow. I mean, if you learn rock and roll from the blues and you started from A, you can't start the musical alphabet from L or M. You have to start from A.
Yeah.
You got to go from the top, the bottom to the top in music. I mean, you can't start your education with Eddie Van Halen. That's for sure. Who I love. I mean, that's great. But I mean, you have to start. Yeah, you got to know who Les Paul is, Chet Atkins is. You got to know who all those fellows are.
I mean, even Eddie Van Halen was influenced by Eric Clapton and some of those guys you mentioned. So it all starts from that. But wow.
One thing I'd like to say, Jay? One thing I'd like to say about after I toured with Ross.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I found out about Ross is that he has the greatest tone of any guitar player I've ever heard. And the tone is in his fingers. It didn't matter what he was playing. I said to him, how can you sound so incredible on whatever you touch? And the tone is in his hands. I don't know if Ross remembers on that when we were on tour.
Yeah, a lot of people feel that way. I mean, and then they're looking on the ground to see what pedals I have. And I don't use any pedals. I just plug straight into my amp, and that's the secret of what I do. I'm not saying it's good for everyone else.
It was amazing. Amazing.
I really just have my own, my own tone. It's called 10 Fingers of Death.
Yeah, and I think the other thing, Ross, even if anybody checks out the Boss Band or any of your music over the years, is you are just as great of a songwriter than anything else. I think it's interesting that you're such a great guitar player, but you could probably come up with a lot of great riffs, but it's not all about showing off how fast you can play. It's more about the song. Anytime I listen to something that you're playing on.
To me, the solo has to be a song within the song.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, the solo has to be a song within the song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and another thing, Ross, like a lot of guys, in the music business, you never hear a lot of nasty stuff about Ross the Boss. You don't seem to create a lot of chaos. You just do your music, and it seems like you don't have a huge ego. And I think that's a lot of people could learn from the way you conduct yourself.
I would say that as far as ego goes, I mean, I don't have to be told that I can play guitar. I don't have to be told that I can write songs. I don't have to be told that I can perform. I know what I do. I know what I'm capable of,
Yeah.
I just wake up every day. I'm blessed to be here, and I want to top what I've done before. That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm not a musician like you or Tom, but I was curious, like when you go in to record an album, or even when you're getting up on stage, does it really depend, like when you go to record a song, what guitar you're going to use? Like when you write a song, or does it kind of you can use whatever guitar is available?
Well, any guitar is fine, but sometimes I have to use a Telecaster, or sometimes I got to use my 1974 Stratocaster, or sometimes I got to use whatever the mode is. I have a brand new new guitar I bought myself. It's the Hagstrom Viking 2. It's that red guitar that Elvis plays in
okay.
in the comeback.
Yeah.
The Jailhouse Rock, yeah. And I got that guitar now. It's an incredible sounding, and so
Yeah. And since Ross, you knew Ronnie James Dio, you mentioned him a little bit. I wanted to suggest, if you guys haven't checked out Paul Gilbert's Dio album, that's a real fun album to listen to, because it doesn't feature any vocals. It's all instrumental versions of Ronnie's songs, Sabbath and Rainbow and Dio. And what Paul Gilbert does is he's actually, the parts that Ronnie would sing, he's kind of singing to us through his guitars.
I heard some of that. It's very good.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. I've never heard anything like that. It was very, I knew there were going to be instrumental versions, but it's like it's just a very different way for people to hear these songs. And I thought it was a very fun interpretation. Yeah.
Right. No, definitely great.
Yeah. Well, Ross, it's been great talking to you and catching up. This interview we just did will be going up in about a week's time.
Was the logistics okay? Did you hear me good enough?
Yeah. It ended up working out just fine, and like I said, people should.
I was freaking out a little bit that you couldn't hear me. So.
Yeah. Well, it worked. So, any final words, Tom, before we wrap it up today?
No, I just happy to bring you on, Ross. Thanks so much for coming on the show. And Ross and I talk almost every day through text messages. And
we're connected on Messenger a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot for doing
I guess if he showed up for the birthday of your son, Tom, I mean, he's almost like a brother to you, huh?
Absolutely. We had a blast on tour together. We talk all the time. I'm just so proud to see him back out there. I mean, when he played his festival in Europe, was it 3 o'clock in the morning? The whole crowd was singing. I mean, there was thousands of people out there singing Ross the Boss songs. It was just amazing when I seen the video. I'm very
Barcelona
happy.
Rock Fest, you talking about?
Yes,
Barcelona?
yes.
That's 100,000 people.
You must be
100,000 people.
Yeah. You must go out all the time and hear Ross the Boss, Ross the Boss.
I do. Happens.
Wow. So let me ask you guys, Tom, you've done some shows together. Have you ever gotten up on stage with Ross and you and him jammed out?
Yeah, we have. We had a great time.
What was that experience like? Let's end with that.
I thought it was phenomenal for me to be able to play on stage with Ross. I've looked up to him for many years. It was Ross, Mark Lopes, Ripper Owens, and myself, and it was a Held Hostage show. And at the end of the show, Ross and I just went back and forth trading licks.
We just started to extend the song. It was cool. It was great.
Oh, wow. And finally, we'll end on this. I was just reading last night, speaking of Tim Ripper Owens, he's Nick Boquette, from the guitarist from Grim Reaper, and him are recording a new Grim Reaper song, reportedly.
Oh, nice.
That'll be cool. Well, thanks again, Ross. Thanks again, Tom. Great chatting with you guys. This will be going up in about a week's time, so take care, you guys. Thanks so much.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.